Hey guys, and welcome to Crusher Convo, where we're crushing the conversation one episode at a time. Welcome to my react and review of the final season of Star Trek Lower Decks. And today we are going to be talking about two episodes that they dropped, Dos Cerritos and Shades of Green. So I can't wait to talk to you about that. But I do want to talk real fast. I feel like I've posted way too many of these. But I did want to mention the sad passing of Jerry Taylor, who, of course, was just a pioneer for women when it came to Star Trek. She broke so many barriers. She was like a supervising producer, co-executive producer, and then went into executive producer, showrunner for The Next Generation. She co-created Voyager. She wrote episodes for DS9, Voyager, TNG. Just was our Berman era of Trek, right? She was one of the best out there, and as you can see, just in just in Jerry's work, she teleplayed and wrote many great episodes like Suddenly Human, Final Mission, Night Terrors, The Drumhead, The Wounded, Silicon Avatar, Unification 1, where we get Spock back, Violations, The Outcast, Times Arrow 2, Aquiel, and Descent. And of course, she was part of Sub Rosa. But yeah, I just wanted to say that the fans are very sad. This is, I want to say, the third loss we've had in just a matter of a few months. And with Patty Yasutake and I can't think of it. Vic Fontaine. I can't think of his name right now, but it's just one of those things that's just like it sucks. Like I can't tell you how much it sucks, but it sucks and I don't yeah. So I just wanted to mention her real fast, but you know, Chris from First Light Podcast, he shared about her passing on Twitter and had done a quote of Jerry's. And it said here, I identify with Janeway. I am a woman of authority, unique in Star Trek. I have a staff that I work with and take responsibility for. So I bring my personality to bear on this job. Naturally, it is those sensibilities that I tap into when I write Janeway. And I actually am a manager in my department. I have 18 people under me, and my other two managers are also women. And we basically we're at the helm of our job, and we take care of it. So it it's people like Jerry that kind of just paved the way for people like us now, us millennials and Gen Z generation. So I think that was very, very special, and I just wanted to bring that up. And also, not a visitor, because her book had just come out, Open a Channel. She didn't get all the interviews of people that she talked to, and Jerry was one of them. And so she posted a video over on her Instagram for Open a Channel. It's called at Nana Open Channel. So go check it out. She talks about her interview with Jerry. It's really, really good. And I think you guys would enjoy it. Okay, but we are here to talk about the final season of Lower Decks. And I am super excited. These two episodes were loads of fun. And I am just really sad to know that this is the final season. I'm kind of getting Picard vibes. We knew season 3 was going to be the final season. So as we were waiting to see all of our favorite characters come back, we were enjoying every second of it, right? And that's what I feel like with this final season of Lower Decks. I am just absorbing every second of this and, trying to hang on as much as I can. So, but yeah, we have a couple of people that have joined us over on Instagram. So hello. And yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. This first episode is called Dos Cerritos.
It's almost like we represent each other's lives if we'd made slightly dissimilar choices or something.
I wonder what we'll find out is different about the two of us.
I don't know. We seem pretty similar to me.
Oh man, I can't wait till you teach me how you got all these sweet mods. My augmentations are not sweet. They allow me to perform at peak efficiency.
This is what I'm saying, right? This is just I'm gonna miss these characters so much. So of course, I had done a quick like TikTok, Instagram video of where I was saying that these two episodes are kind of representing, one is like really on about the crew. The second episode was really about Tandy being, with the Orions and a pirate. But I knew they kind of intertwined with each other. So it wasn't necessarily a two-parter. We got two different stories, but it could have been a two-parter because of how they intertwined those stories. So I think this was just a really great start to it. Of course, it's just another issue for the Cerritos. I think Freeman, what does she call it? She called it space-time potholes. I guess that's a good way of putting it. Got to close those up so we don't have any parallels and interdimensional problems. And of course they do. But the first thing that we see is Tendi as a pirate, and she's trying to fulfill her sister's wishes so that she can go back to Starfleet. Okay. And then of course we go back to the Cerritos, and we're seeing, they're junior grade officers now, and they kind of feel like they've kind of, they're kind of worried or feel like they hit their stride because, Boimler did a big thing about being the captain in the end of last season, and now he just feels like he's plateaued. And then Mariner doesn't seem like she really wants to really go far with her career, and this episode really just shows that's really what she wants. She does not want to be a captain. She doesn't want to be authoritative. And it was kind of interesting because I kind of saw a shift between Boimler and Mariner here. She was kind of being more responsible, and he was kind of being like, I don't know. And I think it's because of how they saw their other selves, because they made slight choices. That other Boimler, because, they went through the rift, and I think, what did Ransom say? He's like, we're being dunked like a giant cookie or something like that. And so what was just funny about it is that they see their other halves, and Mariner is a captain. She's Becky Freeman. No idea where Carol Freeman is. And then the other Boimler has a beard. He's very Riker. That's the feeling that I got. And so very confident, just like, oh yeah, everything's cool. We got this. No big deal. Was kind of even giving our Boimler like a pep talk, like, oh, you got this. Don't worry. Just don't worry about anything, and you'll succeed. And I think that was awesome that they were showing that, because they were kind of getting an idea of, like, when you do make decisions in your life, it could take you in a different road. So I enjoyed that. Of course, we are also seeing the Rutherford, I could speak today, side of his loss of Tendi. You automatically saw him in the beginning of the episode. He looks like he hasn't been sleeping. He's been keeping himself busy. He doesn't want to feel that sadness. So he's trying to preoccupy himself to do things that that makes him just emotionless from losing Tendi. And it's funny because Mariner and Boimler are kind of like, okay, well, be careful. But it was T'Lyn that makes the step up here in these two episodes, especially in the second one, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, so we see the other Cerritos. Everyone's a little different, but kind of similar. And as you saw in that clip, they were like just slight changes. But when it comes to Becky versus Mariner, huge difference. And this Becky is not cool. Like, she's using fear to control her team. And she had a whip at some point where she's all like, nope, they're either your crew or your friends. And it was like, you can't have both, which technically true. Like, when you have workers, employees under you, you're not their friend, but there is a line of respect there that you need to have, and be there for them when they need it the most, because you don't want to be this dictator kind of a boss, right? You want to be able to understand their situations, and you still have a job to do, you still have a business to run, but You're not going to be cracking that whip and not caring who these people are that are doing the hard work for you, right? So this is what Mariner is seeing. And of course, Boimler's seeing something else and Rutherford's seeing something else with the pretty much all almost Borg-like, like Boimler said. And I was curious, though, if Tendi was on the ship, because they said that their Tendi had become a pirate, like a full-time pirate. That's her. I would have liked to saw the two Tendis, So this kind of gave me Prodigy vibes, though, because we saw the holodeck versions of themselves. I kind of had a similar feeling. I think also what was funny is where they were questioning what was the prime universe versus fake, That made me think, though, like, what exactly is prime universe? Like, what are the other dimensions think that do they know they're in a different universe? Like, I was always kind of curious about how that works. Of course, that's probably technobabble that we don't really need to get into. It will probably give us a headache, but it's a question. Okay. As of course, Tendi is helping her family. She says, her sister's like, you could just do this one job, get this old Orion ship, and you can go back to Starfleet. And they said that they got this from a rogue archaeologist. And I thought maybe Petra, which I think she was in season 3. Or maybe Vosh. I don't know. Like there's more than one. I thought that was kind of she instantly just came to my mind when they said rogue archaeologist. I was like, I can kind of see her do that. So, we'll see if they even mention her later on. But one other thing too that I had mentioned, or just after this clip, Carol Freeman was like, where is the other me? And the other Ransom was like, let's just say it's good to see you. And he gets all teary-eyed. That's an homage to Riker saying that to Picard in Parallels. Okay. I clocked that real fast because I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. And of course, I just thought that it was funny that even with the two Ransoms, they're like arguing, but they're complimenting each other. Like one called himself sexy beast or something. The other one called him a hunk. And I don't know, which is so Ransom, right? Like that's so typical Ransom stuff. But yeah, so, and then of course to Lynn, the same. I think one says fascinating, the other one says remarkable. That was like the only difference. Jorg on Twitter did point out, though, the slightly variation of color. So the other Cerritos had more of a darker tone to them, while our Cerritos had a more lighter tone. So if you kind of look at like the Mariners next to each other, Becky Freeman had a more darker red versus, Beckett Mariner, right? So I thought that was a nice little thing to point out. Tendi, of course, also runs into Blue Orions. Didn't know they exist, but they reminded me of pack lids. And I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's where they were fighting this whole time. And that whole arc goes into both episodes between the Green Orions and the Blue Orions. And of course, I think the Blues called them Orions. So cool. Okay. That's where I got the pack lid vibe, where they were just saying just random silly stuff, But yeah, so let me see here. So when Tendi is fighting against the Orions, she does heal one of the Blue Orions, and that's where this whole thing starts, where they were like, what dark magic is this kind of thing. And at first her crew's almost about to go against her, right? They're pirates. They want to pillage, they want to destroy, they want to do all that they can. But then they kind of just opened up and were like, no, we want to be like you. We want to follow our dreams just like you did. So we thought this is the way we had to do it because we thought that's how you did it. And she's like, no, I just went to Starfleet. Like that was just, I wanted to go and I went. Like I didn't want to be a pirate. And I thought that was kind of cool that they saw Tendi as an example, that they didn't have to just only be an Orion pirate, and they didn't have to just do things that they didn't want to do. Because she was even saying, like, stop the killing. Like, I'm tired of you trying to kill people. And they're like, oh, yeah, killing. It's just, cleaning blood is just annoying. Like, it was just kind of this random stuff. But I thought that was cool to see Tendi in that role, because she always tried to hide behind the science these last few seasons. Last season, we saw her that she was the mistress of the winter constellations or something. So she had a big role that she didn't want, right? She wanted to, I just want to be with the science and be in the background and just do what I love to do. And these Orions saw her as an example of like, oh, well, I could do that too, which is a perfect example of how the women of Trek, like Nana had written in her book, these characters that the women played set examples for female viewers to go and do big things, become doctors, become engineers, become, astronauts. And I think that was kind of Mike's way of bringing that part into the story, right? So I liked that. I liked that a lot. They were using each character for a different emotion and different way of life, and how they handled it, right? Of course, as all this is going on, it's time to send the other our Cerritos back through the quantum fissure, I think it was. I'm hoping I'm getting all this technobabble right. I'm doing this out of memory here. It only took about 3 or 4 times to watch the episode, but I think I got it. But Becky didn't want to be captain. She wanted to just, I want to be a loose cannon, just like what we saw season 1 Mariner was. I don't want to do this. So I'm going to kidnap you and have you pretend to be captain, and I'm going to go in your Cerritos. Like, that was her idea, and thought that was going to work. So now Mariner's kind of in this really weird part of, I'm arguing with myself of who I used to be, right? This is who I used to be years ago. And now I'm trying to do the right thing and try to tell my other self to do the right thing. Like, it's a whole, again, parallel, Worf, all of it situation. And I loved, because the Becky had like tied her up and put her in her uniform, and she's leaving, and she's doing the sarcastic Vulcan salute that we saw like in season 1. And of course, remember, like, Carol was arguing with her about it, and she's like, oh, now I know how that feels. I thought that was hilarious, because I didn't catch that at first. And then when I was rewatching, I was like, oh, that's an homage to season 1, right? So I like those little pieces that Mike put in, and all the writers, because they're celebrating all of these seasons, everything that they've gone through. And this is where they're at, right? One of the things that I absolutely cracked up when, they saved our Mariner, they put the other one back on her Cerrito, she goes in the brig, all this stuff. And, that Boimler is very confident, right? He's like, oh, yeah, I could do this, do that. And because they were taking Captain Becky to the brig, they were like, Boimler, you now have the bridge. And he does the Riker. Oh, my gosh, the Riker maneuver. I was laughing so hard. And I'm all, is this a callback because of those old scientists at, Strange New Worlds? Like, how is this all working together? I just love it. I just think that's so cool. Oh, look, we have a comment. This is from J. Marie. Hi, I hope somehow there's more Lower Decks, more seasons of full-length movies. Yes, absolutely. I did kind of ask Mike that question, so make sure you hit up my interview after this, but I hope so too. We definitely want more Lower Decks, and it's very, very sad that we are losing this, but what are you going to do, right? Like, we wanted more Picard after we had season 3. We weren't going to get more Picard. Legacy, hopefully. But I like to think that you know, um, Section 31, Starfleet Academy is going to be coming out. We are getting more Trek, right? And Tawny is a part of Starfleet Academy. And so I kind of feel like we're getting little pieces of Lower Decks in a way with her being on there. And so I'm excited to see how that goes. But this animation, this show just really hit all points, and we enjoy it for different reasons, and but we could watch it all the time, and that's what I love about it. And also to see how these characters have grown over the last few seasons. So but one thing I was kind of confused about, so Boimler grabbed a pad from the other Boimler and he was keeping it a secret. So does that have like his personal logs on it or something? Is he trying to see what the other one did so he could follow the same path? I was kind of confused. I know at the very, very end when they're in their 10 forward, it's not called 10 forward, but that's what I call it. He's like, oh my gosh, he made the cover because, at the beginning of the episode, he didn't even, they cut him out of the top 30 under 30, right? They put Naomi in there, who's 10 years old, which Tony Pascal from Trek movie mentioned that this is probably now in 2382, because I guess Naomi was born in 2372. So if they're saying she's 10 years old, then that should be the year. I love that he pointed that out. I listened to Trek Movie this morning because I'm a nerd when it comes to dates. And then I started thinking, I was like, oh, Jack is a year old or two. Right. So I wanted to mention that because we never really knew the year. We knew it was like 2380 back in season 1, but we never really knew what was happening since then. So it's nice to know if that's been a year or two since that happened. But anyways, so after all that, the Blue Orions declared war on Tendi's family, and she decided to stay to help them with the mess because she feels like she caused it, because not only did she healed them with dark magic, which was Starfleet, I think, technology. She had also stopped them using laughing gas, though it was Orion technology. They felt that wasn't right, and they're going to pay for it. So, again, I didn't even know there were Blue Orions. So I'm learning something new every day. But anyways, guys, let me see here real fast. I guess we'll kind of just jump into Shades of Green.
I'm gonna need to commandeer your hover cruiser, ma'am. Official, post-scarcity business.
Sure, I'll just replicate a new one.
Good for them.
Let's do this!
Yes, totally. But you are sitting on it backwards.
Damn it!
I don't know about you, but I got Star Wars vibes there. So of course, the Cerritos crew was over on Targalis 9, and this society was now eliminating capitalism. Okay, so no more money and everything like that, which is what the Federation did. And so they were helping them with the transition, getting rid of their currency. And Boimler was in charge of this away team. And of course, his ensigns get kidnapped because that's what happens. Mariner was part of the team. She wasn't in charge, and she kind of liked this new Boimler. But now she's like, okay, but we really need to tell Ransom what's going on. Boimler's like, no, we'll figure it out ourselves. This is that switcheroo part, right? We always saw Mariner be like, no, we'll figure it out. Don't include the superior officers. And Boimler always wanted to go to the superior officers. Now they flipped. Now she's trying to do the right thing, and he's like, no, I want to do something different. So I feel like Boimler is definitely more, I don't want to say the word confident, but he's definitely taking risks when before he was way too safe. Mariner is, instead of taking risks, she's just kind of taking a step back and trying to think of like, okay, pros and cons, plan A, plan B, which one would work better? Okay. This is definitely a different Boimler and Mariner that we saw from season 1 to now. Okay. So I thought that was cool to see. And I'm curious how that will continue for the rest of the season. As we're more into the Tendy stuff here, she senses something's wrong with her sister. They were kind of having like a little sister sleepover kind of thing, trying to figure out what to do with the Blue Orions. And I clocked it real quick when she was like, I don't feel good. Her sister's pregnant, but Tendy doesn't know this until later because she decides to go in her sister's personal logs, which is a big no-no. But she finds out she's pregnant, and then she becomes overly protective. And this is just a typical Tendy thing to do, especially since she's a science officer and worked in sick bay. She just was like, no, relax. Don't do this. Don't do that. And her sister's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I'm a captain. I'm a pirate. I'm going to fight. We're going to do this. And Tendy kind of made it worse because she was being so overprotective that they ended up crash landing because they had to do, they had to go see like the pirate queen. I didn't even know there was a pirate queen, but they see the pirate queen. She's like, you guys shouldn't have been doing this. So now you guys are going to basically fight to the death, but whoever wins, the other one gets your fortune. Okay. So this was a big deal. It was supposed to be a race. Blue Orions are trying to cheat. You know how it is. But because Tendy was so overprotective, they ended up crash landing, and now they had to figure out how to get out of it and stop the Blue Orions. And this is where I said, I support the mutiny, because she's telling her crew, like, okay, we're going to do a mutiny, but we're going to do it very gentle and nice. And they're like, what? And she's like, just follow me. And of course, her sister's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And when she finally tells her, I know you're pregnant. I'm worried about you. And she's like, I'm fine. And everyone knew about it but you. And it wasn't because she didn't trust Tendy. It was because she didn't want Tendy to give up her dreams to stay and train her daughter, because I guess that's Orion law. So it was really sweet moment that they were and this whole time they were taking care of each other, and they didn't realize it. At least for Tendy, didn't realize it. But it was one of those things that Tendy had to learn to trust, right? She didn't really trust her sister to make the right decisions for herself. Her sister's the one that's pregnant. If she thinks that she can go kick butt climbing up rope with a dagger in her mouth and whatever she needs to do, let her do it. You know what I mean? Now, I thought this was a good representation that women can do anything, even when they're pregnant. And then, of course, when you go back to Mariner and Boimler trying to figure out how to get the ensigns back, and they kind of like these android gardeners are now guards, and they are keeping them hostage. But it was just really funny because their ensigns died. And that's where Boimler then got pissed, because he's all like, we're going to go after you. And he's doing CPR. And it was so funny. But Mariner's all like, what the heck is going on? And it's just like these situations that they're put into. And they're like, just what the crap, man? Like, what else? What other shoe is going to drop at this situation? But I thought it was so funny. And then, but the ensigns weren't dead. They just were pretending to be dead because they were following Boimler's points. He was calling them pointers, and it was his pointers. And he's like, use your legs to lift things and do this. And they learned that, and they survived being captive because of what they learned from Boimler. So even though Boimler thinks that he's this epic failure as a leader, his crew, his ensigns were always watching him, and they took his advice and they survived. I love just how full circle this is all coming, right? Everything just seemed to be pointed in this direction, and it's going to continue this direction up until the series finale. So I'm very, very curious how this is going to go, and I'm very, very excited. One other thing that was also going on during this time was Rutherford and T'Lyn. And Rutherford, of course, is still upset with Tendi being gone. And I guess they always had taken care of that shuttlecraft. And Talin was trying to help him, and she was all like, "I need a partner to learn these things, and I want you to teach me." And he was very distant because he didn't want anyone to take Tendi's place, and he was almost holding on to that shuttlecraft. So then, like, the longer it took to put together maybe his hopes that she would come back, right? Because he doesn't know if she's coming back. And all of a sudden, Talin, though, goes and fixes the shuttlecraft. And he got upset because he's like, "No, this is what I was holding on to, and you ruined it." And of course, she's at first confused because logical mind. And then she admits, "Well, I was lying to you. I didn't need a partner. I didn't need to learn things. I just noticed that you've been so down and distant that I tried to be there for you." And then he felt bad. And then he realized, I really need to stop. Tendi might not come back, and I need to move on from that, right? And but of course Tendi does. And what's funny is Talin, like, she didn't know that Tendi was coming back, but she went and just destroyed the shuttlecraft so they could restart it all together. So it was just funny because this was just a nice little moment of Talin's little growth that we see from where she started, because she was supposed to go on a Vulcan ship and she decided to stay, and now she's become part of this crew, because before it was the 4, now there's the 5. And it kind of reminds me of Majel and Prodigy, because before it was the 6 and now it's the 7. And, and she was an important part of the team. But yeah, one little thought though that I haven't mentioned yet: when Tendi was leaving, they ended up losing completely, right? She thought, we'll have a tie. The Orion Pirate Queen will be great, because she ended up destroying the loot from the Blue Orions. Pirate Queen was pissed, and she took all of their fortune from both houses. Okay, so now her family's poor. And she felt bad, but she went back to Starfleet. And her sister was all like, I guess they were saying about how she was going to visit, because she's like, "I want to squish that little baby." And she's like, "And teach her some swashbuckling tips." And she's like, "Oh, I'm already worried that the baby's going to be deadly or something." She's like, "You're going to make a great mom." I loved that quote. It's just like so out there, but so sincere, right? So I thought that was really funny. And but it ended up working out, because the Cerritos was going to be destroying all of that money and gold and jewels from, what was it, Targalis 9. And then it was like, "Oh, wait a second, I know who to give it to." So it was given to Tendi's family, so they're no longer poor. And then they had like the Blue Orions as like their servants. So this whole thing with the Blue Orions came down to that. And I thought that was a funny way to end it. And so yeah, those were the 2 episodes. And I stupidly forgot to rate this, put up my polls and stuff of how you guys would rate it. And so I had to kind of do a last minute run through of how this looked. And so for an hour on my Twitter only, I got 5 votes.
By tricorder.
So yeah, this was the votes, the 5 votes. 80%. 4 votes out of the 5 gave it 5 bearded Boimlers. No one gave it 4 Orions or 1 and 2 wing slug rolls, which apparently is the delicacy for her sister during her pregnancy. But 1 vote gave it 3 Mistresses of Winter. So, and I was having you guys vote both of these episodes combined, so 1 and 2 instead of separating them. But yeah, everyone seems to really, really have enjoyed this episodes, and I enjoyed it too. It was a really good start. It's getting me excited. I can't wait to see what else is happening. And yeah, so that's where I'm just sad. Like I'm just overall sad. And I know all of us are to know that this is ending. And I'm very excited to see what else is to come. Deep down, I really want like Beverly Crusher to make an appearance, but I doubt that's going to happen. I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up due to the fact that there's really no place for Beverly to be in it. I think the way that they did in Prodigy was perfect, right? That worked out so well, and it made so much sense with Wesley and why she appeared. There's really no reason to bring in Beverly Crusher, especially at this time, because she should have already left Starfleet. She should already have like a baby Jack. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's just like, that's a shoehorn, right? Just because I want a character in there, it would be a little difficult to put that in. But if they had more seasons, we could have probably seen them. Maybe we could have even seen Wesley, could have seen, baby Jack. I don't know, but it was so much fun to just see these characters again. And as if we don't get them in live action, it's just great to see them in animated forms. And so, yeah, it's definitely a bummer that this is the last season, but I can't wait to see where this heads. But let me see here real fast. Now, if anyone has any comments about Lower Decks, just go ahead and put that in there. Trying to remember, I'm looking at my notes here. I was also going to say something about Ransom. He seemed a little bit more encouraging than normal. And we did kind of see a difference of him last season. That's kind of playing a role here, where he was just like, oh, you guys got this. No big deal. I mean, he did pip them. They are now junior grade lieutenants. So he definitely has faith in them. But he was almost kind of being like that other Boimler, like, oh, don't worry about it. It will take care of itself. You guys will be fine, So that I'm wondering if we're going to see a difference with him, if we're going to see any difference with the other characters going into this. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, so that's really all I had to say. I just wanted to mention these little things. And some of these episodes, I might have a guest with me to discuss the episodes. Some of them I might not. And, it's just one of those things where I'm just enjoying these last moments with them. Now, as you can see, I have my Lower Decks stuff out here so I could celebrate them while we're doing this. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get to it. So guys, right after this episode, so in another like 15 minutes, my interview with Mike McMahon is going to drop, and I'm calling it Farewell Cerritos. And it was such a wonderful time talking with Mike. And just like how his premiere of the final season is dropping 2 episodes, so am I. So stay tuned here on my channel and you get to see the full interview that I have with Mike. And, I asked him questions about just kind of how the season's going to go. And we also, like I said, gushed about the Crushers, and that was loads of fun. He really loves his Trek, and you can tell. I had just an honor to speak with him and so much fun. And yeah, so I hope you stay and watch that and enjoy it and let me know what you think. Comment below, like the video, that would be great. And also I wanted to mention Trek Talks, January 18th, Hollywood Food Coalition. So make sure that you go to trektalks.net for more information. Also follow them on their socials at Trek_Talks. And of course, their YouTube channel is now at Trek Talks Telethon. that is definitely something that I wanted to mention. And also just remember that at my TeePublic store, which is tpublic.com/user/crusher-combo, all the proceeds of my Be Kind Like Crusher t-shirt will go to Trek Talks. So far, I have not sold any of those shirts. And so I'm really, really hoping that I can get a few in before January 18th and just donate it and help the Hollywood Food Coalition as much as we can. And it was a design that I made that I just decided to do. And so, yeah, so hopefully you guys can help out with that. That would be great, and support any way you can. And also, I did want to mention real fast, as I go back here, I am doing a giveaway. Okay, so this is for new subscribers of YouTube. If you are a new subscriber, you have a chance. Grabbing it right now. This Beverly Crusher ornament and some stickers. Okay, for all new subscribers. So far, I have a few, so we already have some going. I'm hoping to get up to 200 subscribers by December 1st, or December 1st being the deadline, right? So 200 or December 1st. I was able to snag one because here in Idaho, I don't think we have a lot of Trek fans. They were all still there. And so I grabbed 2 of them. And so, yeah, so if you want to try and win, please subscribe to this channel, follow my content, like, and hit the notification button. And then let me know in the comments, whether it's on YouTube or even on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, even my Twitter, just letting me know, hey, I subscribed. I will add you into that. So then I can kind of keep track of you guys. But, you know, hopefully by December 1st, I can be able to pick a winner just in time for Christmas. So I wanted to mention that real fast. And also, that's the wrong border. That's not right. There it is. And also, don't forget that you could also listen all to the audio versions of my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Good Pods. You can buy the Be Kind Like Crusher or any other design that I've done over at TeePublic. You can be a Patreon for as low as $3 a month. You can buy me a coffee, a one-time thing if you want. That's how you want to support the podcast. I am now on Blue Skies. I am now on TikTok. And of course, I am also on Threads and Instagram. So just remember, guys, it's, you know, it really helps if you like and subscribe those things, and we can, you know, get some more viewers, get some more winners. I'm hoping to give this away. I hope everyone is enjoying all this stuff, and I hope that everyone is going to be enjoying this, my react and review of Lower Decks as I finish up my season of season 2. So yeah, I'm going to have lots and lots of fun here, and I'm super excited. And next week, same time, same place, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on this channel. We are going to be discussing episode 3, and it's called The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel. I don't know how to think about that. I don't know how to take that. I don't know what to do with this information. The titles are definitely interesting, for sure. And so we'll see what it goes. I think the finale, though, was called The New Next Generation. I don't want to get my hopes up. All right, I'm just saying. And when you hear my interview with Mike, you can see why my hopes are not going to be up. But definitely watch the interview. So yeah, thanks guys for joining me tonight. If you have any questions, comments, hit me up on all the socials, hit me up below. This was loads of fun. And I guess until next time, and there we go. Live long and prosper, guys. Bye.